So we're here with service members are trying to sue the Trump administration over the transgender military service ban. It's not about readiness or cohesion, and it's certainly not about merit. The ban that's being talked about here, it is about exclusion, betrayal, purposely targeting those of us who volunteer to serve simply for having the courage and integrity to live out our truth. Basically, you're not allowed to be yourself. But no, it has absolutely no impact on your readiness. It has about the same impact on readiness as somebody that has to take Viagra pills, take stuff for ADHD, which makes you unfit and unready. So there's many things that affect military readiness that is far worse than just taking a few pills a day for trans people. Fellow service members do not give a shit about your orientation, your gender, what your pronouns are, anything like that. The biggest thing for them is like, can you do your job? Are you good at your job? Are you going to have their back when shit hits the fan? If the answer is yes to all those, it doesn't fucking matter anything else. I may edit that out. Kind of did a little ramble. Alright, so
President Donald Trump signed an executive order today that directs the Department of Defense to revise the Pentagon's policy on transgender service members, a move that could lead to a ban on transgender troops serving in the military. And it's already seeing legal challenges. GLAAD Law and the National Center for Lesbian Rights filed a federal lawsuit today in the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia against the Trump administration on behalf of 6 active-duty transgender service members. So joining me now, Lambda Legal Counsel and Director of the Nonbinary and Transgender Rights Project, Sasha Buckert, along with transgender service member Emily Schilling, call sign Hawking, as I understand, U.S. Navy Commander and Aerospace Engineering Duty Officer. Welcome to both of you. It's a tough day for this issue, certainly from your perspective. And Sasha, I want to begin with you first. On this latest executive order, Trump signed an executive order limiting gender-affirming care for individuals under 19, any federal involvement in such a thing. My question when I saw it was, how much impact does...
Just noticed on that, let me see if I can back up, right here, 19. Wasn't it 18 that you became a legal adult?
Protection clause, this is the same care that's provided on a routine basis.
Purporting to stop any federal involvement in it.
Yeah, it's completely unconstitutional. It violates the, the Equal Protection Clause. This is the same care that's provided on a routine basis for non-transgender people on a regular basis, and to deny it to transgender people discriminates on the basis of sex.
So, Emily, let me turn to you. So this is an order, and I've been looking at it. The language is very harsh. I would read some of it, but I don't see the need to repeat it. It is directed at you. That you have a false identity and all these kinds of things. When you heard about it, and if you've taken a look at it, I just want your reaction when you saw it. Given that you wear the uniform of the United States, you serve our country, how'd you feel?
Yeah, Terry, first off, these views are my own and don't necessarily reflect those of the DoD or the United States Navy. Look, I just want to keep serving. I'm at 19 and a half years. I have 60 combat missions in Iraq and Afghanistan. I'm a certified test pilot. Flown over 21 airframes and 1,700 flight hours in aircraft like the F-18 that you saw in Top Gun 2. I just want to keep doing my job. I'm looking to do another 10 years, and hopefully I'm able to do that.
I have 2 questions. I'll put them in one. Why'd you sign up? And have you ever had trouble with your comrades in arms?
Yeah, first off, the military is a family business. I grew up around jets. When I was in elementary school, Blue Angels were practicing overhead every single day. It was my dream from being a kid. And so after I graduated from college, I joined up, and I was lucky enough to have the grades to get selected to jets, and then go on to do those tours in Afghanistan.
And Sasha, when you looked at this order from a legal perspective, look, this has been a kind of, you guys have been in a ping pong situation. One administration does this, the next administration does this. This is something more, though, it feels.
Yeah, it's shameful. You know, the rhetoric, you know, it follows the kind of rhetoric we saw during the campaign, you know, targeting transgender people in line with what we saw with the executive order you just mentioned. And, you know, it ignores the fact that transgender service members like Emily have been serving, you know, for at least 10 years in every environment you can imagine, in every MOS possible, you know, whether it's a combat pilot, intelligence officer, you name it. You know, we're talking about millions of dollars that have been invested in trans service members, and, you know, the number of years people have served is uncountable. It's just, and you know, the justifications are zero within the executive order for the ban. It's just, you know, name calling, and it doesn't talk about, you know, combat readiness, which is belied by the experience of people like Emily that have been serving with this distinction and valor in austere environments all over the world.
Well, I am going to bring up the justification for Trump and the Secretary of Defense doing this is that your military readiness, and people like you, trans people's military readiness, is compromised by either some kind of treatment or medication that you have, and that makes you not as fit to serve from their perspective. How do you answer that?
So, Terry, I'd like to speak about myself.
Great.
So I'm fully qualified to fly an F-18. That means I'm medically qualified to do one of the most extreme things you can do in the military. They trust me with this $100 million plus airfreight. Because I was one of the early transgender individuals to regain that flight clearance, of course I went through psych evals and physical evals because they should be medically conservative. But I passed every single one. And I've been doing the same job for almost 20 years now. Throughout the world, we have troops currently deployed who happen to be transgender in every theater, and they keep showing up every single day fully qualified.
They look up to you, I imagine. What are you hearing from people concerned that they will lose, you know, something that they love? They signed up to serve the country?
Yeah, Terry, it is amazing. These troops are resilient. You know, as president of Sparta, I oversee about 2,200 members who are all active duty or reserve transgender troops. Every single one of them is looking to put their boots back on and keep showing up and doing this nation's business.
All right, well.
I'd like to touch on the harm that this causes to the military and readiness overall. You know, a lot of people that are serving actively and honorably, you know, sets back the military and undermines national security, and it would be really harmful overall for the country.
All right, Sasha Buckert, Emily Schilling, Hawking. Thank you very much. Really appreciate your contribution and ability to inform us on this. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Terry.
Okay, thanks, Terry.